2008, I met up with the girl and started hanging out with her, and next thing you know, she's pregnant, and
2007.
Oh, 2007. Sorry, brain fart. And over the course of the time that she found out she was pregnant, to the time that she actually gave birth, basically we broke up about a week and a half before she even found out she was pregnant. And then she told me, then we tried to get back together. Then she left state, and then she came back, and then basically she took off and met up with a whole bunch of people around here that were no good. And then kept partying the whole time she was pregnant, and started to realize what kind of, she had some mental issues, you could say. Like severe ones, multiple personality type.
Schizophrenia.
Oh yeah, all of it. I mean, you can go down the list and probably name them all, and there's probably a few more you'll miss.
Really?
And I didn't realize it because she played off pretty good when I first met her, and didn't catch on to it until like way later. The stuff just started coming out here and there. And then New Year's Eve came around, and she had the baby. And called me the day after she had the baby, on New Year's Day, because she had them on New Year's Eve, about 7 o'clock from what I found out, and she had some guy that she was messing around with there, and trying to say that he was the father. And then told me the next day on New Year's Day that she had the baby yesterday, on New Year's Eve, and she had the guy she was screwing around with sign a birth certificate as a father. Right there, I told them all back that I went up to a nurse station, told them they better put a freeze on that birth certificate because that's not the baby's father. That I am, and I'm going to take paternity test or whatever to prove it. And then the day after that...
Did you take a paternity test?
Excuse me?
Did you do the paternity test? The DNA test?
I did it through DHS. And at first, because I wanted to tell them, look, you know, we need to prove that he's mine and everything, just legitimately, this way and out of month, you know, where I get disability to, you know, get child support, basically.
So he was put into foster care, basically right from the hospital.
Yeah, let me go back to that, I'm sorry. Skipping pieces. When it came time, the day that he was supposed to get released and the mother was going to get released from the hospital, DHS came in and said that they were going to take the baby. During that same day, the whole day and half the night before, it was snowing like crazy. It was like a blizzard. And there was basically everything was shut down. Public transportation, everything. You could not drive. And I was all the way down to central Maine. I am more south of here, where I'm at in Bangor. And for me to try and get up here was basically impossible. I had a vehicle, but it was pretty much, I mean, the thing was buried in snow. You couldn't even get it out, not even four-wheel drive or anything. So everything was stopped. And by the time I can get up there, DHS already taken the baby from her in the hospital and placed him into foster care with this lady that now adopted my son, I guess, Diane. And right from the get-go, from what I understand, is as soon as she got him that night, she decided, and she was also the person that dropped him off, the DHS worker, that she wanted to adopt him for her own. You know.
Wouldn't that be called wouldn't that be considered a conflict of interest?
That's what I've been saying the whole time, and everybody just kept telling me to shut up. Even my own lawyer, the guardian ad litem, everybody was telling me to shut up every time I said that.
Where is this located at? Where is this happening at?
In Maine. Bangor, Maine.
Okay. And what's this worker's name?
This whole thing, since it started, the Bangor DHS, like CPS part or whatever, is one of the top worst DHS offices in the whole country for doing stuff just like this.
Well, shitty you had to deal with him.
Oh, yeah.
So then what next?
And, well, let me go back to the day he got released from the hospital. If I could have got there that day, the hospital would have released him to me because DHS had no way to take him from me. They could only take him from his mother.
Yeah.
If I would have been able to get there and get him, that I would have had him, I probably would have had, go through whatever courses or whatever they want me to do with tests and stuff, but they couldn't actually, from what I was told the whole time, it's harder for them to take a baby out of the home and keep them out permanently than it is just take the baby right from the hospital. It's easier.
Yeah, it is.
And basically, they took the baby that day, and that's where it basically started off at with DHS, and that night they put him right in the foster home.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And the paternity testing itself took 3 to 4 months to just prove that one piece of information.
I asked for it, like, pretty much right at the beginning of January.
January 2008.
And by the time they actually got around to doing it, was almost the end of February, and the test results didn't come back until the middle of April, end of March, beginning of April.
They pretty much just dragged it on.
Oh yeah, and do this whole thing at the same time. One other point I want to make is they never gave me the option, like they always say they do to everybody, of, do I have a family member or somebody else that could take them, or take him, during this process until it's decided what's going to happen, or even adopting himself or take over guardianship.
You know what the sad part is that they got child protection workers waiting in the hospitals during births.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how they make their money.
Oh yeah.
And, the mother of the biological mother of this child, Daniel, she had gotten before she signed away her rights, she had gotten the option to participate in this program called Stepping Stones. If she completed that program within 3 months, or the program was 3 months, that she would be able to take him home, no problem. That's it. And she was the one that the child got taken away from. Now, Danny,
the whole time they were saying they did not want her to have the baby because of her mental ailments, straight through the beginning.
And Danny didn't get nothing, and the child wasn't even taken away from him. It was taken away from the mother.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, to me, it sounds like you should have the kid right now.
Yeah, well, when I came into the picture, I have 2 daughters from a previous marriage. And when I came into the picture, and I'm like, well, you have a son and he's in foster care. Well, I have 2 kids, but I have to worry about why is this kid in foster care. I thought he was paranoid. To be honest, I thought he was being paranoid because I didn't know anything. I mean, I thought that CPS, HS was around to help families,
Yeah.
This whole incident, I never had him in my life. Not at all, in any way.
Well, everybody's starting to see the truth.
He also has an 18-year-old son that lives in New Jersey, and he also has an 8-year-old daughter that he sees every other weekend. No problems, never had a problem with anything. She comes over every other weekend at the holidays and
school vacations, summer break, everything. It was right here. I've had pretty much the same judge that was hearing this whole case with my son Daniel was the same judge that sat there because my daughter's mother, the 8-year-old, her mother was trying to make it so she can get more money for her child support and everything. So she took me to court and made a whole bunch of allegations and tried to get a protection order against me. And the judge basically denied it, called her out and said that you're exaggerating a lot of stuff, you're lying about a lot of stuff, and all sorts of stuff. And then sat there and asked me if I wanted to take full custody, like primary, where she would live with me, that I could. And I was like, no, she needs to be with her mother. This is a little girl. And I gave her mother the trailer that I just pretty much built and bought and built and everything and done everything. We did the whole trailer. So I figured let her stay there right with her mother, for now. And, I would take weekends and whatever,
That's nice.
vacations and stuff.
so.
How long has this been going on for, though? Like, how long have you been fighting this?
Well, he just
over 3 years.
He just turned 3 years old this past New Year's Eve. Our rights were terminated on October 9th, October
Well, what was the reason for them being terminated? How can they terminate your rights? There's nothing to hold against you.
No, not at all. When me and Danny when we had started dating, Daniel's mother, little Daniel's mother, I say little Daniel because my husband's name is Danny, so I'll call the baby little Daniel. Little Daniel's mother, when she found out that Danny and I had gotten together, she didn't like it at all. So she started talking to Diane, the foster mom, and she was saying we were doing drugs. She says that there was needles all over the floor. If you walked into the door, you'd be stepping all over them.
But they didn't see any of this stuff? There's no evidence of it? Just speculation and hearsay?
They came over and sent us to drug tests. Nothing. They said that Danny was feeding me and my kids up.
There's bruises all over.
Bruises all over us, everything. And they came over, they talked to me and Danny separately. And
came over by surprise. It wasn't scheduled.
Oh, no. It was surprise visit, random, knock on the door. Who's that? Oh, hey, hello, you know? We cooperated everything in hopes that, hey, if we cooperate, maybe something, you know? Because at that time, like I said, I had no idea. That's what they were all about. And, you know, even my mother, and my father live in a different state. They live in Massachusetts. It's like at least a 6-hour drive, 5 to 6 hours, depending on how fast you drive. But and what they started calling my mother, little Daniel's mother, and her friends. I don't know how they got my mom's number, but they ended up getting my mother's number, calling her. Oh yeah, Danny's beating up the girls. Danny's doing this to the girls. They're doing drugs. They're doing this. My mom came up without letting us know. Like I said, it's quite a few hour drive.
Showed
up with a police officer at the door saying, Karen, get in the car. We're going back home, or I'm going to call CPS on you. I said, Mom, what are you talking about? Because I didn't have a clue. I was like, what are you talking about? She ended up coming in. Well, this isn't what I expected, she says, you know. By the end of that visit, my dad was shaking Danny's hand.
No. It's not there, and they call me their son. You know. The whole time too. After that day, it's like, you know, instantly. You know, her mom said she didn't care about my tattoos too much, but that's it. So that you're right. So okay, thanks. Her mom's like, she was raised in Brazil, so she's got a little bit more restricted, like, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Goes to church every Sunday, so she doesn't like those tattoos or anything.
Oh yeah.
With Daniel, after they did that, they had us doing random drug tests all the time. We were working with this organization. It's a branch off of DHS. It's called CAPE. And what they do is they come in either scheduled or randomly. We had it randomly. And they talk to us, see how we're doing, check out the place, check the kids, see how they're doing. And they did random drug tests on us. Well, CPS was also doing random drug tests on us. They would send over a cab, and we would have to go to this, what was that?
Walk-in care.
Oh, this place, walk-in care. And get a drug test. And, well, one of the court dates that we had...
Mind you, we were doing this voluntarily at this point. We weren't even court ordered to do it.
Oh, really?
Right.
We're like, what the hell? We got nothing to hide. I ain't worried
about it. We wanted to prove to them
So you're just willingly doing this?
Huh?
So you were just willingly doing this, just out of
Right, because we wanted to let them know, hey, we're doing this because we want him home.
Because you're loving fighting parents.
And when we went to court that time, they said that we had Danny had something in his system. Yet one of the times that Cape was over,
at the same time,
Cape was walking out the door when the cab showed up in the driveway for us to go to a drug test. And they said that Danny had something in his system. Well, Cape pulled out a paper. Well, I don't see anything here that, you know, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing here at all. So,
got dropped.
So they couldn't prove anything at all. And when, like, about a week later from this, a week or two later after this, we got a letter in the mail saying that Cape could no longer do drug tests anymore because they weren't qualified.
A certified letter.
Yeah.
That they couldn't test me anymore because basically Kate fucking screwed them up for all their lies and stuff, trying to say something that had something. But each and every time, for some reason, when we were in court, and they were trying to say that they got all these test results back, where I got all the stuff in my system and stuff that I'm supposed to have not in my system, that they'd never go into court because they couldn't find them.
Yeah, so every time that they were pressing these allegations, pushing them on, they mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah.
It was no longer there.
Like they made me take an assessment at this place where they, assess to see if you got anger problem or domestic violence problem and everything. And I willingly went over and took this assessment and everything. And they don't tell you the results there. They're telling send them to DHS, and the DHS gives you a copy, or is supposed to, and gives your lawyer a copy, and they tell you the results of the test. And they didn't bring it up for like 2 months after I took it, and I was like, I know you got that result by now, because the guy even told me it only takes up the max 2 weeks to get the results. And she was like, oh yeah, there's no problem there, I guess. And just blew it off. But then every time we went to court, they would sit there and say that I have anger problems, I'm too strict in disciplining the children, which I don't beat, I don't hit, but I make them stand in the corner, alright?
You just give them a timeout.
Huh?
You just give them a normal timeout, and they call that abuse.
Yeah, and they said it was emotional abuse because a child should not be standing up facing the wall. They should be sitting down in a chair facing the rest of the room because it's too shameful for them to be facing a wall.
I always saw a punishment should be shameful. That's how you learn it's a punishment. I mean,
but
they said there's no difference between their timeout and me putting them in the corner, basically, when it came down to it. But they kept on giving me guff about it.
Right, and when we did finally get in-home supervised visits, that wasn't until April of 2009. Daniel was already a year and a half years old about.
Yeah.
A little over a year. And, in-home supervised visits, for one, they are just really stressful because you got this CPS worker sitting in your living room with a clipboard and a pen,
watching your every
move. All of a sudden they start scribbling in their pad, and you're thinking, well, what are they writing? I mean, did I do something wrong?
Walking on eggshells. Even if you know you're all right, they always twist it around in a different way to make it where you're wrong. And trust me, they did that many, many times. And the ones that had supervised visits at DHS and at this place called BAC, and also the ones when they started them at home. They twist stuff around. Right, and they also said at one point that during our visits, we spent too much time with Daniel, so that's going to be dangerous for the future because we spend too much time with him. I mean, I don't spend too much time with him because we only got to see him for a few hours a week.
I know, you explained that to me. I remember that. That's.
How do you spend too much time with a child that was taken away from your home and you only get so much time with them,
Try drilling that into their heads, though.
Right. Some of these caseworkers don't even have kids,
No, that's right. And they think they know exactly how to raise them.
Right. How can they tell me I'm doing something wrong when they don't have kids of their own? Because it's totally different. Babysitting and being a parent is two totally different things,
Most of them don't even have, any college education or anything. They just pretty much walk in, or if they know somebody that's already in the department, something that gets them a job, they walk in, fill out an application, say that they're qualified for anything and everything, and get hired right on the spot.
And that's another thing I want to aim for is thorough checks. I think there should be a flushing all over the world with all these workers, I think, on their backgrounds, everything, because there's thousands of them out there that have just scooped up the job with no know-how or education whatsoever.
Definitely.
Yeah. And most of the people I found out, between even the lawyers, all the lawyers, the visit supervisors and the people from all, they all have their off hours. A lot of them hang out, and their friends, and they go to each other's houses and hang out with each other. I mean, how could you have biased views, when you're sitting there hanging out with, the same people, you're supposed to,
You're working against.
Yeah.
The same people that they're working against, they're hanging out with. They go to You know?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So she ended up getting the adoption of Daniel, right?
Yes, I believe so.
I'm not positive.
It hasn't been confirmed, but from what I understand, she not only adopted him, but changed his name.
Yeah. And also did a whole thing, the foster mother refused to call him by his name. She always called him Bob because she didn't want him to learn his name. So when she adopted him, that basically she could change his name, make it whatever she wants.
Right, and she had him, he was calling her mom the whole time.
Yeah.
And she was, come to mom, come to mama, come to mama. She was right in front. And
she do this in front of you?
Anything about it. Nobody would say anything about it. We were trying to reunify.
But she would say this in front of you guys, to Daniel, like say, come to mommy in front of you?
I would, and then I corrected her and said, go to Diane, you know, well, not like that to him, but I would say, go to Diane, you know, not mom.
What a
Diane.
bitch.
And she basically said straight out that she refused to do it. She's not going to call, Karen mommy. She's not going to tell him to call me daddy. She's going to say she's mom, that Diane was mom.
Right,
and husband is dad.
And one time when I had to, it was the end of the visit, so I had to hand over Daniel over to Diane. She was heading to her car. The CPS worker had just driven away. As soon as I handed him over, she just took off. And when Diane was putting him in the car, me and Danny are standing.
Well, Dan's in the doorway looking out, and I was in the kitchen window. Looks out front of our house where the car was parked.
Right, and she had put him into the seat. He was crying because he didn't want to leave.
Then opened up the front door, passenger door, took his sippy cup off the seat, handed it to him while he was sitting there throwing a temper tantrum, shut the front passenger door, then shut his door, walked around, got in her door, put her seatbelt on, put the car in gear, then turned around over her seat and backhanded my son right across his face.
If I wasn't standing in that doorway, Danny would have been out the door.
I don't know if I go to prison or not. Put me in prison. You ain't ever going to put your hands on my kid. I don't do it.
And then when we told CPS about it,
that never happened. She said it never happened.
And not only did they say it never happened, she came over during Sandy Babin, the case manager, the CPS worker, manager, whatever she was called.
Worker.
She ended up coming over during a visit to tell us. So she just interrupted our visit. And
she's not supposed to do that, supposedly.
And told us, what you really saw was Diane handing him the sippy cup. She didn't hit him.
And she also supposedly had her daughter in the front passenger seat sitting there with her, and her daughter seeing me walk up behind Michaela, Karen's, older daughter. I kicked her in the butt real hard. I kicked her out of the way, real hard. Kicked her out of the way.
When she was at school.
And Michaela wasn't here, and Diane's daughter wasn't even in the vehicle at all.
And they took her word over ours
because they're all family. That's why.
Oh yeah, government takes care of government. It's all fucking related.
That's right.
Just like when the president spent $50,000 on a $5 claw hammer from Home Depot. Government screwed up. I basically told her the whole time, and every time I would sit there, and half the time she'd show up at this place where I took the drug test, just unexpectedly, and sat there. I kept on, trying to talk to me or talk to my kids if I had them. I was like, look, don't talk to my kids. You got no right to do it. I don't care what's going on. You're not going to pollute them with this stuff.
And then they put in the report that we had, what was the exact word? We had a high expectation of strangers or something like that.
No, that they weren't allowed to talk to strangers, and the caseworker was a stranger. Which in my eyes, she ain't my friend. She ain't somebody I know personally. So she's a stranger to me.
Yeah, but what they said was we had a drastic view, some type of drastic view on strangers or something was unhealthy.
Yeah. But I sat there, right there inside the waiting room, which was packed. I sat there, I said, this lady, Sandy Babin, from DHS, that's sitting there trying to take my kid away, unlawfully, ignorantly, and viciously, sitting there telling everybody that she's above the law. And she sat there and said plain straight out, loudly, that she does think she's above the law. She can do whatever she wants, and nothing's going to happen but what she wants to happen.
That's exactly it, and they're all alike. Most of them, anyway. I actually do see some here in Canada that are good, but there's very far and few between.
Yeah.
There's a few.
There is a few CPS workers and foster families and the like that do look into the better interest of the child.
Here's another one. All right. There's this whole thing going on with Daniel. After, I think it was before his first birthday, and the one lady that was first put on there, Sandy Babin, was taken off because she said, you know, there were so many complaints against her for doing this stuff in my case, and then all sorts of other cases that they started seeing stuff, you know, where there's paper trail proof.
Mm-hmm.
And they put this other lady on this, nice older lady, you know, same, you know, job, same job description and everything, you know, but totally new to the case, didn't know anything about it, and she read through the files and everything, which she could find, which is only like 2 or 3 papers, which I had at the same time, you know, a whole stack, way more than she had. And she sat there, and the first time she talked to her, she said that she didn't see any reason why Daniel shouldn't be home with me, and that she was going to do everything in her power to make sure he comes home to me. And then within a month and a half of her being on the case, she mysteriously was forced, well, from what I've heard from people I know around, that she was basically forced to take an early retirement, a leave of absence, without getting her pension or anything, and taking off the case and everything, and Sandy Babin was put back on it, just because this one lady didn't see any reason that Daniel shouldn't be home with me. And this was even before me and Karen got together.
He was about, what, a few months old? Yeah,
he was about 6 months old.
So I think what happened was there was already a price set for Daniel, and they wanted to make sure it was...
Yeah, I
Daniel
hear about
was sold.
that. I do hear things about that all the time. How people, I want a little boy, and I want him to be this many years old, or a baby, and this is what I want. Here's your price. You know, I hear about that stuff all the time.
It's such a sad government when they're making money like this.
Oh yeah. And also one of the other things in there. I don't know if Karen mentioned in the story or she told you about it. At one point when we were going through it, because I had cancer in the past.
Okay.
I'm in remission and everything. I'm all fine and everything. And she said that basically she wasn't sure if I would get Daniel back because they're not sure if I still have cancer, then how would I be able to take care of him and provide for him? Which basically morally should not be their place to even say that or ask that. And other people, even lawyers, told me that shouldn't even have been asked. And that's not a reason for not giving me my, letting him come home.
No.
And they made me get papers proving that I was in remission and everything.
You didn't sign over your rights or anything at all, right? You didn't sign any documents at all?
No, I didn't sign anything.
He did at first for releases and stuff, and then
that's fine.
After
we started realizing what their game was, and we wouldn't sign anything else after that. And they tried to hold us. They tried to hold that against us too.
Yeah, like one time, Latasia was in Stepping Stones.
The
mother of Daniel Jr. Basically, she was there for a couple weeks, and the whole time that she was there, right from the get-go, she was supposed to bring any and all medications with her and give them to them herself. And Sandy Babin wanted Tasia to give Sandy Babin all of Tasia's medications, even though Sandy Babin wasn't the person bringing Tasia up to this program. All right, she wasn't even going to be there that day, and she would bring them up at a later date. Which Tasia, she is on her meds. She is somewhat of a nice girl. All right, and seems a little bit normal. At least. But, they didn't give her any of her medications for the whole 2 weeks she was up there. After about 4 days into it, I got brought up there for a visit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only supposed to be 2 hours long. And after I was in there for a few minutes, the person that works for Stepping Stones, that was supervising the visit, sat there and told me, she's like, why are you getting visitation? I thought you voluntarily signed your rights away. We have a paper right here from Sandy Babin that was given to us and back to us from Sandy Babin.
Mm-hmm.
I said, really? And, she was going to give me the paper. I was like, I believe you got no reason to to lie about it, you know, where she's basically, you know, trying to see what's going on, you know, where it's pretty much a legit program. And after that, the next day, I called up my lawyer, and he contacted, and supposedly that paper never existed now, which I never signed, because I've never signed anything like that. Releases for medical, then to find out information or drug tests and stuff like that, I'll sign away because I have nothing to hide.
Well, you know what, after what I just heard, it sounds like your kid is kidnapped right now, was sold on a black market scheme, and I think that we should post an Amber Alert.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And when Daniel was a little over a year old, I had found out I was pregnant, and I was terrified. I was like, oh no, with this whole case going on, what are they going to do? I was terrified. Well, our rights were terminated from Daniel October 2009. This baby was born in December of 2009. Nobody came to the hospital, nothing, and I came home fine from the hospital, and I'm very thankful for this. Please don't misconstrue this at all, but I was terrified. And we still have all 3 of our children that we had originally had over here during this whole throughout this process, and
well, that's what I mean. Danny should be home. Yeah. There's no reason. There's no reason.
There's no reason at all.
I'm asking them, and even the lawyer's like, don't ask that question because they'll find a way to use that and take your other kids. But I was like, you know, how is it that this whole process and through this whole thing, I got, you know, well, not through the whole thing, but...
So they threatened you is what they did.
Part of it, that when me and Karen got together that summer, all right, her 2 daughters, my daughter that came every other weekend during the summertime, she was pretty much living with me from the day she got out until the day she went back to school, holiday vacations and everything. All right, and I got visitation from the same judge that terminated my rights from Daniel, gave me that, you know, 50%, you know, guardianship and all that with my daughter. And we even have our other daughter, you know, what's going on? How could they keep Daniel out? And everybody kept on saying off the record that they have no reason to, basically.
You know what? I think the reason is because through their business, I think they have a no refund policy.
Oh yeah.
That's why they tried to start trouble with my kids. They said that Danny emotionally abused them.
I talk too much to them when they do something wrong. All right. The way I was raised by my grandmother, my grandfather, on my father's side of the family.
Mm-hmm.
I never really lived with either one of my parents for a lot of different sordid reasons. All right. And my grandma always told us if we did something wrong, she would sit there and tell us what we did wrong, why it's wrong, and she would explain it to us. You can't just say, oh, no, that's wrong. You know, kids got the right to learn stuff, too, and why it's wrong.
And they said that from that, they would twist his words around, saying
that we're talking situations that dragged it on and all this.
And one of the times, a CPS worker came to visit us because they had gotten a report, another allegation, because we're terrible people.
That's why you still have your other kids, because you're so terrible.
Right. We had told the girls to go into the living room so we could talk in the kitchen, so it could be private conversation, because the kids don't need to hear that, what we're talking about when it comes to regards to, us being terrible people. They don't need to hear about that kind of stuff. So we told them to go in the living room, color, we set things up for them, cartoons on the TV, coloring, everything. Mm-hmm. Well, so we went to the kitchen to talk. Well, you know how kids get nosy every once in a while. They come and check in and everything. Well, one of my daughters came in with a picture that she wanted to put on the fridge. Now, she never does this, but because she wants to know what was going on, she did. So I told her, Michaela, not now. You could do this in a little bit, but right now is not a good time. All right? You need to leave the kitchen, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I told her. Well, they ended up saying that we interrogated her for being in the kitchen and made a big fuss about it, yelling at her, and told her because...
And punished her.
No, they said that we yelled at her because we didn't want her to put something on the fridge. Yeah. So they took something, twisted up the words, took it out of context, and said, oh, no, it wasn't because they didn't want her to be in the room to hear what was going on because, you know, little ears, you know? You hear that saying all the time, little ears. We didn't want little ears in the room. So we we just said, listen, now's not a good time. You could do it later, just not now, all right? And they said, they won't let her daughter in the kitchen, and all she wanted to do was put a picture on the fridge, yet they kicked her out.
Yeah.
So it's like they took something from a situation and
twisted it right around.
Made an explosion out of it. Exactly.
One time, we just got a puppy at the time, and it, the older daughter was in school, and the younger one was here, and Daniel for his visit. And the one girl, Kaz's younger daughter, Kaylee, sat there and she was playing around and, kept on pushing herself on top of the puppy and everything. We wanted to let him know, stay away,
Right, because we were learning the dog's temperament. We wanted to make sure he wasn't a snappy dog. We wanted to make sure he was well-tempered enough for the kids and everything. So we were just, testing it out.
That's a smart idea.
We want her to be all over his face. He's a dog. He has his bubble, too,
Mm-hmm. That's a great idea.
We told her to sit on the couch. She sat there for a good 10 minutes because she got distracted and, everything with the visit supervisor being here. Sitting there trying to, tell us how to do and what we're doing is wrong and everything, and all that stuff that they do, basically, which pretty much everybody knows if you've been through the situation, and turned around, and then I sat there, I realized she was still sitting there, and I told her, do you want to watch a movie? And she was like, yeah. So, every once in a while during the visit, we put, DVD in with cartoons or something on it, so she could watch it, Daniel, they'd sit back and watch it and stuff, and, hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that basically I made her sit on the couch for 3 hours, when she was on there voluntarily for basically just sitting there watching cartoons and movies and stuff that we played.
And we did pause the movie so we could eat lunch, too, and everything, and they still said, she was there for 3 hours. I have it marked in my paperwork. It's in the notes.
So she didn't even eat lunch or anything.
No, they said that we allowed her to stop to eat lunch. That's what they said. We allowed her to stop and eat lunch, and then she had to go sit right back on the couch, is what they said.
So now there's another falsifying documents now in your case, also on top of the kidnapping, and the kidnapper is still at large with the child.
Exactly, and we still have our 3 kids. And I would like to say right now, we are not perfect parents. I don't believe there is a perfect parent.
There isn't.
Perfect, man. I wouldn't be here.
There's no such thing as perfect.
We definitely try our best for these kids. We make sure that, we provide for them. Not only that, but we try to do our best to take care of them. We do stuff with them. We have family outings. We try our best with them. We're not bad parents, but we're definitely not perfect. But it doesn't mean that,
I'll tell you, this whole thing, I'll be honest, before Daniel was even born, for years, on and off here and there, especially since I went through my chemo and everything, and I don't like taking, pills for anxieties and all this. I used to smoke pot. I'll be straight up and honest. I used to smoke pot.
I still smoke it, and I have my kid.
Yeah.
And that's going to be on the show. I'm not going to edit that.
Yeah, no. I was saying, I tell everything straight.
And I got my kid back in 8 months.
That was one thing. I'd rather smoke pot, which is all natural, than take some damn man-made pills, a whole bunch of chemicals in it. That's going to make me sit there and act all sorts of weird and everything. Then have to take another 50 pills on top of that one pill to take care of all the side effects of that one pill.
Mm-hmm.
So I can sit back, smoke a joint, and be happy.
And you're less intoxicated.
But we even stopped doing that just because, Daniel's more important. And we had stopped just so that way our drug test could start, everything was legit. Everything was legit. What did they have against us? What did they have?
Then after that, they started trying to say that basically I was selling my prescriptions. The one week they be selling, I'm selling them. But then the next week say, that I'm abusing them and taking them all, not the way they're prescribed. But at the same time, every time they took me for my drug test, they said none of my prescriptions were ever in my system. So obviously I couldn't be abusing them if they're not in my system, you're saying. And if I was selling them, where's all this money? Why are we so far back on the bills? Why do I have an old tube TV that's like prehistoric? Most of my stuff is, furniture and stuff was given to me and stuff. Stuff we acquired here and there. We don't have no lavish, extreme lifestyle. Even our computer's a laptop, and it's like prehistoric. It's still got Windows XP on it. You know, we're not rich people. All my clothes have big holes in them and everything, worn out. My sneakers have holes in them because everything I get, I try and get to all the kids. I love to see them have it. You know, I can deal with going without. I ain't worried about it as long as the kids are happy. You know. But I have no money for like nice stuff, but I'm selling my prescriptions.
You guys want to contact Daniel so bad that you guys even created a website. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah, lettersfordaniel.webs.com. We created so that way we could write letters to him, and so that way he knows that we did not abandon him. We want him here. It had nothing to do with, because I don't know what Diane's going to tell him. She could tell him, oh, they didn't want you. Oh, they're bad people. This is what they're about. So I put up our story on our website, lettersfordaniel.webs.com, so that way I not only put the story so that way he knows what happened, I also write letters to him every so often, not every day, but every few days, you know, and I let him know, hey, we're thinking about you. We love you. This is what happened today. This is, you know, so I want him to know that we're here for him, and when if we have to, I mean, we're going to be researching, doing all we can to see if we can get him before 18, but if it comes to 18, we will be knocking at that door, you know.
Right. I also want to say one other thing. This whole thing, right from the start and everything, you know, for the most part, I've been until I got together with Karen, except for a couple of times I got, tried working it out with Tasia, Daniel's mom. All right. You know, I was pretty much a single father. And I was all by myself, paying my bills by myself, taking care of everything by myself. And, even providing and taking care of my daughter, India, that's 8, all by myself. And, no other person, helped me out or anything. And doing it on my own. Right? I kept on asking. I was like, basically it was just a hardship, pretty much for the most part. But I kept asking all the lawyers and everywhere. I said, the only reason you guys are doing this is because basically I'm a single father. And if you look around out there for single fathers, there's no access to any fucking support, help, or anything, or groups, or like stepping stones that the mothers get to go to with the baby and live there and everything. There's nothing for a father, but there's everything that's smarter for a mother to have to get a child back. And all the way back, DHS and everything, all the courts, family courts and stuff, if you've not noticed, always give the child to the mother, regardless of the circumstances. They tried doing that with me and my mother. When my grandmother wanted to take custody of me, my brother, and my sister. And my mother was probably one of the most, just as up there as Tasia was to raise a child. And I'll be honest about it.
It even says on the paperwork, it says the department did not prove by clear and convincing evidence that babies bond with a, I'm reading the wrong part. But yeah, they had also said about, let me finish reading this actually. Okay. The department did not prove by clear and convincing evidence that babies bond with a foster family appellant. Danny's parenting style and mental health issues made him unwilling or unable to take responsibility within the time necessary for meeting the baby's needs. Basically saying that because the baby bonded with a foster family, that
it gives them legal right to kidnap your
kid. And they were saying that Danny wouldn't be able to change his, wouldn't be fit because of his parenting styles, because of the emotional abuse allegations on my girls, yet they're still here. And
I've always proven my innocence about that. Every time
and he has anxiety, so that's his mental health issue.
And I'll tell you, part of the reason this is really hard for me, it's a government agency, all right? Unless there's something about, stuff that's not why I have so much heartache and anxiety dealing with anything government, especially law enforcement or DHS and everything. I was born and raised in Northern New Jersey. All right? And back in January 9th of 2000, all right, my brother came down. He moved up here to Maine to save my father for a while because him and the mother of his son split up and they were, having trouble getting along. So my brother went back down to Jersey to get his Harley and stuff. And, some of his clothes and stuff, and bring it up here so he keep it up here by him. And while he was down there getting this stuff, basically he went out, go over and visit some family and friends and stuff that, we all grew up in out of the bar and was brutally murdered. Brutally, and proven even my coroner's reports. I got black and white on paper. But if you know anything about the North Police Department, you don't go against them or you don't talk against them. My brother was murdered by 2 cops from North Police Department. And it just so happens to be the same cops. You know, North New Jersey is sort of like New York City where it's got different boroughs and areas. And back in the early 80s, like 80, 79, 80, 81, somewhere in there, I got, you know, in trouble for fighting in North, you know, street kid, you know, born and raised in the ghetto and all that. Sometimes you just had to fight, you know, sit up or just had to lay down and die. And I got arrested for it. I was like, I think 8 years old at the time, 8, 9, somewhere around there. And got brought down to the Holden block in downtown North at South 17th Street Police Station. And got put in a cell as an 8-year-old kid. In a cell with adults, murderers, rapists, you know, drug dealers, and I mean, literally, there's murder, rapists, drug dealers, and everything in there with me. And put in there until I found somebody that come down and pick me up, you know, down there. And basically, a few hours later, they wound up letting me walk out and walk home, right out of the police station. And years later, the police that killed my brother, were from the same exact station that arrested me back when I was 8 years old. And basically, I even got the coroner's reports and everything.
So what happened to these 2 officers?
What?
What happened to these 2 officers? Did they get charged?
Well, no. Basically, they got away scot-free. They said it was, basically, they said that my brother was in a crack-induced hysteria, which my brother partying and smoked some pot and everything, he drank a lot of beers. But he didn't do crack. Crack's not his thing. It's just not. He never like, you know, he tried it, but, you know, when he was younger, teenager, he didn't like it, didn't care for it. His thing was sitting around with his friends, hanging out, smoking a couple joints, or a bowl, and drinking some beers and playing poker. You know? And, you know, either, you know, once the person has a weapon and, you know, the definite, you know, a threat, you know, to, you know, bodily harm or something, they're supposed to be trained to stop a person without having to use, you know,
deadly force.
And my brother had no weapons on him, not even a pocket knife.
That's sick. I'm sorry to hear that.
And then he had basically like $10,000 in his pocket that he got from their parents. And when they brought him in, they said the only thing he had in his possession was a pack of cigarettes with a half-smoked cigarette in it, 25 cents. And that was it in his pockets. When he had $10,000 cash on, I know he had it. He was in my cousin's bar. He was safe there. Nobody could mess with him. He was born and raised in that area.
And then a few years later, they come and take his son. So, I mean...
Everybody said it's just, basically, I'm paranoid. But then when they sat down, even my caseworker that I had, you know, from a different place, this place, CHCS, you know, I told her all about the story and everything. I told her I wanted to keep doing it on my own because I want to be independent and try and handle as much as I can on my own. You know, and show my son, you know, I'm willing to work for this, you know, and everybody else, that I'll do whatever it takes. And then after a while, basically, I figured out that it'd be better to have her there just to, you know, as proof, you know, when they say something and to renege on later. And she came to a few meetings and stuff like that at DHS and heard stuff, and then the next conversation with the person, Sandy Babin, sat there and denied she even said a lot of this stuff. And she started seeing that everything I was saying was basically true. It wasn't just paranoia.
Right, they tried to use that against him, though, saying that, oh, he's really worked up, he's nervous, and this and that. Saying that,
well, look what you're going through.
Exactly. So they were saying that he was too worked up for it and everything, and that was wrong. He shouldn't be. That's what they were saying.
That's why I have such high anxieties, and everybody even told me, everybody that, you know, they asked about me, you know, that knows me or whatever. They said, you know, the only time he has anxieties is like when he's got to deal with something government. He doesn't like them. They murdered his brother. Now he's going through this with you guys, you know, how do you expect him to be?
Yeah. Your hands are kind of tied in trying to find him. It's just in hopes of whether or not he comes across your sight and knows. I'm sure you're gonna find each other. I am pretty sure about that.
Well, I know I will.
We're hoping so. All we can do right now, I've been researching a lot online, and going to the library, looking up legal information.
And I'll put that link to your website in the description underneath the videos.
Excellent. That's great. Thanks.
Tell the website.
I also have another website. It also gives information about CPS in general. It's called cpswhirlwind.spruce.com. And that basically, it states right in there that each state gets paid an incentive for however many kids that they can adopt out.
That's right, and adopt them out.
Right. It gives links right in there. So, I mean, I urge everybody just to research it in general because, like I said, I didn't know anything about it until I was involved, and I want people to be aware, you know.
I want people to step up and say something about, for one, if you're an employee of the state, such as a foster parent, that's supposed to be taking care of a child while stuff like this is happening, that there's no way that person should, or anybody related or friends with them, should be allowed to adopt that child. That's, too much conflict of interest.
I think people need to know their rights, look at the Constitution, the amendments, everything, know the laws, know your rights.
But at the same time, don't count on it working too, because you can't fight the government. When they want something, they're going to take it no matter what.
That's true, but whereas when the CPS worker knocks at your door, you don't have to let them in unless they have a warrant.
Unless there's, like somebody's calling in saying that there's a child in there being, killed or something like that.
Yeah.
Immediate danger. They have no reason to come in. And they're actually not supposed to be allowed to come in. It's only the officer to come in and check the welfare of the child.
That's right.
The decision at that point, if you need, the CPS worker needs to talk to the child.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a discussion of the cop. A lot of the cops in the town know, because I give respect. I don't know how much I hate cops, but there are some good cops out there, all right, that do want to do the right thing and the way they're supposed to.
I agree.
But, a couple of times they had an officer sit there outside the room and, supervise, during the visits. And one of them, Sammy Diane, came in and told me that during the visit, at the beginning, after the visit started, that she was going to terminate my rights and hand me the paperwork on and everything, and want me to sign away right then instead of going through the courts. So she can get that faster because she wanted Diane and Laporte to adopt them. And they got up and left, and I even had to stop the visit early because I couldn't do it. I was so worked up, and I didn't want that to be in front of my son. Visit. And said that I stopped out of the visit room, threatening to come back and shoot up the place and kill her and stab him and everything and blow the place up. And the officer was walking behind me the whole time because he knew I was worked up. And he's like, Danny, don't worry about that. I was ignorant of what I'm doing. I agree with you. If you need me to, let me know. I'll go to court, testify to it. And then later I, called the cop, I guess, about a week and a half after that. That's when I found out that they were saying that. And the officer said that, called the court as a witness, and he'll testify that I never said or acted anything like she described and I did. And she was trying to get me banned from DHS, so I couldn't even have my visits no more.
And that didn't work.
No, everything they threw at me, I sat there and proved my innocence, fought back, and everybody told me to shut up. I kept on saying, I was like, this stuff's ignorant, it's not right. I'm a father, I want my son, I'm capable of supporting and taking care of him and providing for him.
You love him.
I'll be there for him. I'm fighting, I'm showing, I'm here every day, at every visit, not missing one or anything, and did everything I had to do, and then more. Like, even through the visits, and foster care, they wanted me to start supplying the food and the toys and the clothes and diapers and everything. When they're getting paid, the foster mother's getting a child support going from me for him. DHS is paying them to take care of children. They also get a clothing, a food, a fuel allowance, and all sorts of other stuff, which they're getting paid that's supposed to specifically go for providing it for him. And I'm the one that still had to deal with it. I said, what the hell, I'll do it anyway, I don't care. And still did it without complaining or bitching about it. I asked about it,
And then at the very end of it, they said, oh, you didn't have to do that at all.
Yeah.
You didn't have to provide anything. That wasn't your duty. That wasn't your job. But during it, we were asking them, hey, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do the other. Yeah. at the same time, they told us at the very end, oh, you didn't have to do any of that. So, I mean, it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, you know?
I do it, I'm wrong for not doing it, but if I do it, I'm a fool for doing it. You know what I mean? So either way, they call me an idiot. You know? Just because I don't care about it. You know, all my other kids, you know, just, you know, when you get disability or anything like that, you know, if you got a work history where you made nothing, you know, salary and you get disability, you know, each one of your kids gets a dependent check. You know, this way, you know, basically for your child support, basically, if they don't live with you. Or if they do live with you, it goes right to you and you're the payee. You know, help out contribute and stuff, you know, where pretty much people who live on disability and stuff like that, for whatever reasons, basically, you know, don't make enough to basically live, you know, even above poverty level. And I just, it's hard for me. I get anxieties doing this stuff.
Oh, I feel you. I understand.
You know, you know, what we're doing is just rehashing all the stuff. And so there's so much stuff that got built up there, you know, that I could never get out because everybody shut me up. And it's like, it's all trying to come out at once.
Well, I hope that there's some. I hope a lot of people see this video, and if they know where Daniel is, they contact you and give you his whereabouts, and so that maybe.
I would love to know. We would both. Everybody, even my girls still ask about him. And India, everybody, they all ask about him still. We would love to hear from him, see him, have pictures of him.
You know, set something up so I can see him here.
I've tried friend requesting on Facebook, Diane and she even, she said that, I can't quote you here on this, but she had said, I wish she would stop, I wish you would get the hint that I'm not going to add her to my page and that you will never ever see him or be a part of his life again, is basically what she said.
Ignorantly.
And that's ignorant because I wasn't trying to start any trouble. I just want to know how he's doing.
You tell us every once in a while, say, yeah, he's alive, he's fine, you know. Basically, you know, stuff that's wasting us, you know, have some comfort, you know,
I mean, did she really think that we don't care about him at all? Obviously, we care about him very much, and we want him home, and that's the reason why a friend requested her, to try to see, you know, how is he doing? What's going on with him? You know,
trying to keep him on a civil level.
You know, I even posted this because I can tell, I know that she checks my Facebook statuses often.
And she even tried to break in.
She's even tried to break into my website, which I will not get into right now. But I even put on a status about a week before Christmas, sometime around there, to Diane, if you could message me sometime to get in touch with Daniel at a public place of your choosing, as long as it's in Bangor, a public place of your choosing, please message me so we can set something up. Christmas is coming, his birthday is coming. We would like to be able to see him around, especially around these times.
This is a hard time of year.
It's a very hard time of year. I mean, there's just so much all at once, and so much that we're missing out on already.
Did she return you back with a message?
She didn't message me. Needless to say, she never messaged me.
Talking about that part, there's one thing, you know, I kept on saying the whole time, you know, I want this to hurry up. I want him home. I, you know, kept on telling everybody, lawyers, you know, the judges, DAs, you know, attorney generals, everybody, caseworkers, everybody. You know, I just want him to hurry up. I'm missing all this first. You know, I'm missing his first haircuts, his first stabs, his first words, everything. You know, his first teeth coming in, everything. I'm missing all this stuff.
Those are the most memorable moments, man. The first years are the best.
Yeah, especially since it's my son.
And when we were in the reunification process...
Sorry, honey. All right. But the whole time, they kept on telling me, and even Karen heard him say this a few times, I know that don't worry, you can have your own first once he comes home.
Yeah,
he comes home. You know, first it matters. I was like, no, that's not first. That's not right. That's ignorant. You know, this is my son. You know, he's my offspring. He's biologically mine. I've proven it through paternity, everything. I've done everything you asked of me. You know, I can have all my other kids there, and nobody's trying to take them out. You know, nobody even takes them out of the house or nothing. we're here for our kids.
We really appreciate, I really appreciate that you got in touch with us so that way we could do this. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I just didn't know the right people and, you know, didn't know who to turn to. So
well, I noticed. I met a lot of families while I was going through this myself, and I thought, man, what a good idea if I could start something. That would help.
Yeah, we're trying to do stuff, but we're doing it as we learn it as we go. Basically, we want to try and get a big enough petition to basically have fucking...
I think what we should do is...
...for the DHS either abolished or fucking torn down and rebuilt properly.
Exactly. But we should get everybody to come together all in one location on the on a website, webpage, or group on Facebook somehow, some way, and start communicating amongst each other, and then go from there. But right now, try to get everybody in one location.
Right.
It's actually giving a lot of people also just not to sit there and be afraid to come out and say something. Don't worry. I mean, you know, no matter what they do to you, they can never take away from your morals, your pride, you know, your self-respect. They can't take that away from you. You know inside, you know, each person knows they're a good person. The ones that are bad, you know, the ones that shouldn't have the kids, the ones that actually get to have them, you know what I mean. The ones that shouldn't have them get them without even a question. The ones that, you know what I mean.
What are they going to do? Take away your freedom? What freedom? There's no freedom.
Nobody has freedom. They just want you to think you do.
You watch too much TV if you think you got freedom, people.
Right.
You know, control. Look at it this way. I mean, you have paid to drink a glass of water. You know, that's how much control they got. You know, you can't even have water, which is supposed to be a free natural resource. You know.
No, they're charging you for everything.
Yeah, they want to cut up anything and everything they can get, you know. You live in, your profits, everything, you know.
That's right.
I live on disability, and, you know, we're below poverty level, and Obama for the second year in a row said, oh, they don't need money, and took the money away from giving us cost of living increase, even though prices on everything keeps going up astronomically. You know, it said screw people on disability and, you know, Social Security and stuff, people that need the help, and gave it to all the, you know, the businesses and stuff, gave them breaks.
You notice, is it just bad timing or something? Or it can't be just coincidence, but it's happening in every country and at the same time.
Right.
No, somebody, I can't explain it, but that's what I'm working towards. I want to know why every country's purposely failing right now. And I hear your president's going towards some new world order or something. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know anything about, what is this? I'm not falling for that. Are you guys all going to fall in for this New World Order bullshit?
Oh, no. Definitely not.
No. See, what I think should happen is basically the whole government should be torn down and rebuilt.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean,
everywhere.
From scratch, nonetheless. From absolute scratch.
You know, the government's got too much. I mean, even though some of them are far back some stuff, you know, they got the agency out there, and if they don't want somebody, they go out and send them out, you know, like these special ops units and stuff, and
you heard the case for Nancy Schaefer, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't believe for a second that was murder-suicide. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, look at all those.
She was going to out CPS the whole organization, and, now she can't anymore.
Was it a year or two ago, the one out in, Colorado, all those polygamists or whatever they were?
Yep.
Was sitting there, and the DHS, you know, came in there and said, oh, you guys, you know, aren't living by our morals. So basically, we're going to take all your kids away. They took them away, and they had them away for like a good month or two. And one judge finally stepped up. He's like, look, you guys can't do this. You have no legal reason to take them, you know, from these people. You know, it's because you don't agree with their morals or whatever, the culture. It's still their right as a United States citizen. I gave, you know, ordered DHS to immediately return all those kids. And they did. And basically, they were put on their investigation. Even here in the state of Maine, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, twice inside of a 6-month period. Foster parents that work at DHS and also work as foster parents for DHS inside of a 6-month period. First time, the foster mother taped the child into a high chair and left him sitting there with a baby in his mouth. Taped his hands down, his feet down, and everything because he kept on kicking and screaming around and put tape over his mouth so he wouldn't scream. And now, you know, just about 6 months later, another foster mother, which also worked for DHS in the same area, sat there and turned around because the baby went and stopped, dropping his binky and started busting every time he dropped it. A newborn baby, mind you.
Oh my God.
Binky into the baby's mouth to suffocate the baby because she put it over his nose and his mouth and everything. And the baby died. Twice in not even 6 months in the same year.
You hear it all over the news all the time how another foster parent or another CPS worker did this, that, the other, them going to jail, another kid gets murdered from it. With the amount of kids in foster care and just in the system in general, and to the amount of kids that get murdered in their own homes, I think it's like either the same or CPS in the system has a lot more chance for failure. I think that it should just be gone altogether, if you ask me.
Well, the certain parts of DHS is good. The parts where they do help people. And like I said, there is some parents out there that shouldn't have their kids. That's why I said there is some good ones, very few. All right.
And there is, but with the ratio, it just doesn't add up. I mean, we're gonna take your kids so we can protect them, and then what happens? I mean,
then they're just getting damaged in the long run.
Yeah, I say if they sat there and made them all do it voluntarily, not for pay or anything like that, or no way of taking monetary, advancement in any way, kind, shape, or form. I guarantee you, over 80 to 90% of them would take off and leave and never do it again. They never got more money in their budget because of it. They never got a paycheck.
And also, there'd be a lot more false allegations put down right there if it was based on volunteer and not a check.
Well, what they got to do is they got to have income. They got to have what by doing that if they don't put on their list, oh well, there's a bad family today that we had to take away from the children, and just make that list. It has to be a certain amount, and it's a quota, then they don't get funding. There's cuts, there's loss of jobs. So I think that's always in their heads, and they're always worried about that. So that's what they try to do, is keep those numbers high so that they always have jobs. That's just the other reason. The first one is definitely to sell these kids.
Yeah, definitely. I agree on that, definitely.
Well, this is a legal market, to sit there and, basically kidnap and sell off your children.
And the governments that we're supposed to be proud of have created these. And it's damaging our children. And are we proud of our governments when they're screwing our children up?
It's like they think it's a pet store. Oh, you want the one with the red hair, the blonde hair, or the brunette? Which one do you want? Do you want a baby or a 7-year-old, or do you want one that's a teenager already? Babies, you could bring them up because, they're newborns and they could be brought up in their family, or you could take a kid that you don't have to deal with diapers with. Which one do you want? It's like you think it's a pet store.
Colors, hairstyles, hair length, size, weight, eye color, just, fill out the application, tell us which one you want to keep.
Yeah.
The government basically sits there and controls and dictates. That's why I always say, it's their world, we just live in it. They get to tell us how to do it, what to do, when to do. Just like, maybe back years ago. I'm a little bit older. I'm not sure exactly how you are. But they had, when AIDS first started coming out, everybody and their mother knew that it was a man-made disease by the government to sit there and try and control the population.
Exactly.
In my opinion, and a lot of other views and stuff that were proven in a lot of ways. And, even one of the most famous basketball players at the time, Magic Johnson, sat there and, contracted AIDS, sleeping around with all these girls and everything, and sat there and mysteriously years later, oh, he doesn't have it no more, it just disappeared. It is an incurable disease.
Yeah, he got the vaccine, that's why.
Yeah.
He had the money.
It just backfired in I learned in social politics and all that, and science and everything. There has to be a war a minimum every 6 to 10 years to keep population growth down. Right? And that was failing because, there's so many, people starting baby boomers and all that. So since that was failing, the war thing, and they couldn't keep up and control it as much as they would like to, right, they sat there for that diseases. To sit there and control population. They figured AIDS, and most of you can track impacted by, homosexuals, IV drug users, and prostitutes, which in a government, plan, are all, degenerates and,
And we know a lot of them love prostitution. Prostitutes.
Huh?
We know lots of politicians like prostitutes.
Oh, yeah, well, that's where it backfired, because it didn't, it was behind closed doors, it was all hush-hush. How many people in the White House and all these people in, senates and everything else, and governors and everybody else were sleeping with prostitutes every time they were in Washington, D.C., and their wives didn't know about it, and they started catching AIDS left and right. They realized, oh, wait, we just screwed up. We didn't think about, all the people that we wanted to keep, around, catching this stuff and screwing these prostitutes and stuff, and half of them are sitting there in the office shooting up heroin right in Washington, D.C.
And these are supposed to be, we're supposed to call these people our leaders.
Yeah.
Why should we follow these people when they do nothing but lie to us and keep secrets?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's coming to them. It's gonna come to them. It's gonna catch up to them, and
I think it's already started.
They think it's a lost cause, but if we all get together, it's supposed to work for us, not us work for them. We're sitting there paying their salaries and everything, and they're basically controlling us still for doing it. It's like we're paying them just to boss us around.
Really, we don't even need this thing called the dollar bill. We don't need currency. We don't need any of that shit. People, we have to actually, what we got to do is just stop relying on all these resources, get the fuck out of town, and just go start growing your own shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wanted to get you guys to send Daniel a message. Is there anything that you want to say to him in case he does catch a wind of this video down the road?
just how much that we love him and that we miss him and that we're here. So whenever if he decides to come looking for us before we can get to him, that we're here for him, and we want to see him, and we want him home.
I love you and I miss you, Daddy. Daddy wants you home.
It's okay, babe. It's okay. Yeah. It's really hard for him, but...
Oh, I know. I've been through it. I can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I was going to see her again.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what he's going through.
He tries to hold up and stay strong, but when it comes down to it, it's really too much, you know?
Mm-hmm. It is. It is.
They should let all the people at the VHS and the CPS and the cops and the judges and attorneys and district attorneys and all these people, the prosecutors and everybody, should be put into a big stadium, the biggest stadium we got in this country, and let all the people that did wrong sit there and take care of it, treat them equal justice, an eye for an eye. You took my family away, I think you should have your family taken away. Show them what it feels like. Just for the old evil and ignorant greed of profit and money. I don't do anything ignorant, but I think they should all be tortured in the same way that they torture people. There's a guy that lives in the place, the place to live in a trailer park for a short time, and he's a convicted and registered child molester. And he's with this girl, and she has a kid. And he lives in the same house, and the child that he molested is shows right on the listed, the registered child molester listed. There was a child under 10 years, and penetration and all that. And he's living there with her and her son. But I was thinking, I try to be the best father I can for my kids, and I can't even have my kids. But a child molester that's a registered one, and convicted of it several times over, can sit there and have the child live with it.
And we would like to thank you for doing this show with us. We really appreciate it, and
we feel like nobody ever wants to hear it or listen.
So we're happy that you did listen, and we're thankful for that. We appreciate it.
I hope a lot of other people start to open up their eyes and see what's really going on. And maybe we can get together and do something about changing this and make it the right way.
We need to unite.
Yeah, people can't just keep sitting back and let the government push around, because one day, you're not going to be able to push back. Stand up for yourself, people. Jesus Christ, don't let them sit there and control you. It's supposed to be a free world. We're all supposed to live in harmony and all that. Bibles, every religion, and every Bible and everything says, people should just live in harmony and peace and get along with each other. You know, if you ever look at it, I don't know if anybody's religious or not, and I'm not that a practicing religious person, but it says, you know, how back, you know, in the day Jesus used to sit there and toss over tables in the markets because of all, you know, the people and the governments and all that sat there and tried to control it. You know, if there's a God or not, you know. You know, he even said it right there, according to their books. You know.
Oh, I know.
You know, the sons are not religious. You'd see it all over. Sorry.
Well, I guess I better let you go. I'll start cutting and editing this.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Is there possibly our computer's down right now?
I'll put it on your wall. Yeah.
You can even I don't know, email it, you know, a copy, or even mail us a DVD or, you know, CD or whatever.
Oh yeah, just email me your mailing address and I can do that, yeah.
Okay, my email address is cpswhirlwind@yahoo.com.
Oh, I got it, yeah.
And you can email it there, and you can also post it on our wall. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, I'll put it on your Facebook wall. I'm really proud of you guys for doing this.
I think, like, us and you and everybody, you know, get a few other people around in, you know, different states. We should all start off like, you know, private newsletter that the government doesn't control. You know, sit there and put our views and feelings and stuff out there so people can see it. You know, put it out there. The press does it for the government. Let's make our own press that does it for the people.
Love does a lot more than what the government's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.